So it's time for the surprise. Everybody who is in on it, jump in right now. This is the go. If you're in on the surprise and you know what I'm talking about, it's red chuck to gray squirrel, go. So what's going to happen is people are going to start joining into our Zoom room, and we're going to have for the final 20-30 minutes a big powwow with as many people as we can.
Shit! What up?
So
I see the homies.
The idea of this show, the preface of this show, was that we're purposely the black belt show for DJs, and the part of that is bringing back or re-embracing what we had at the record store, which would be a bunch of us from all corners of the world with all kinds of musical influences, crossing paths and just talking shop. So I wanted to bring in some of the people that are making moves right now on Twitch, and my friends and everything else, to sort of have this collective conversation. And we can and so Z-Trip, you're one of the homies tonight.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're just gonna hang out.
I wish I could pour some of this for everybody, man. I wish I could pour a little bit.
No kidding, right? Yes.
You get a little.
What's over here?
So looks like we got Entity, we got Entity from Sacramento, we got Catch 22 from Florida, we got E-Rock from Dallas, Texas, we got Joshua Carl with the Jameson Caskmaster. You know Joshua Carl.
I see you,
Come all the way
Joshua
from
Carl.
Boston, and then all the way from DC, the librarian. What's up, man?
Big up.
We got more people coming in. It's like Chris Hopkins is coming in. Perfect. I think Aiden Scott's going to be here in a minute as soon as he wakes up.
Didn't he say he had some soy veda or something like that, right?
I don't know what he was doing. Yeah, last time we had him in here, he had some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and was just ruining a pair of ribs.
Don't let him hear you say that. We'll never let him down.
Nice. Big up, everybody.
Yo,
what's up?
Aiden's here. Gypsy Kid coming in. Awesome. So Aiden Scott from Philly coming in hot, and then Gypsy Kid from Oakland coming in as well. Quite the powwow.
Word, man. This is great.
First of all, what's up, guys? Can we get a what's up to Z-Trip, everybody?
What's up, Z-Trip?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
So, guys, come on, promoters, right? Come on.
Fucking promoters, right?
Promoters, right? Come on, man. Fucking sound checks, am I right?
Right. Fucking sound checks.
It's dope.
So, real quick, in 2020 right now, I've been saying this on my videos for a long time. 2020 DJing is fucking illegal. And it's illegal to DJ in real life. And technically, it's illegal to DJ on Twitch. And right now, we Twitch users received an email that is dropping a serious fucking hammer on us Twitch streaming DJs. And it is in relation to the DMCA situation that has been going on for years now, but has been amplified just this past year. And did anybody else in here get that? First of all, did anybody else in here get that email from Twitch?
I think we all got it.
Yeah, we all did.
Oh, yeah.
Darth Vader in here. What up, Darth Vader? Glad you made it in, brother.
Yeah.
What's up?
A lot of the European cats didn't get it, but I know almost every U.S. person got it.
So, the UK guys got it.
Really?
Did they?
Yeah, like the homies
EU
DJ
didn't.
Codis and some of like the Global Funk fam, they definitely got that email.
Okay, so maybe it was the EU cats that didn't get it.
So,
what up, man? Like Deeps?
We've been, Man Like Deep's coming in hot.
What up, Deeps?
So we've been covering this topic at length. I've got like a 2-hour thing where I just went off on my own. And then we've had a couple of roundtables on it. And we've been following this closely. And it's a weird conundrum that we're in right now as DJs, because Twitch has all of this language saying, if you're a DJ, don't be on Twitch. Literally says DJ performances.
Pretty much.
If you're a DJ, no DJ performances, no radio style performances. I'm not afraid to call it the elephant in the room, by the way. We're straight up calling it. And we're technically breaking their terms of service every time we go live. But then on the other side of it, Twitch is actively making these deals with the music industry, event promoters, and even partnering DJs By the way, Z-Trip, you're not a partner. I was going to ask you about that. I wonder what that's all about. But
well, I'll tell you. I mean, to be honest, I thought about doing it, but there's also clauses in there that didn't really sit well with me, and I'm still trying to sort of figure out how to work with that situation. Like, I wouldn't mind being a partner, but at the same time, I don't know how many of you have sat down and looked over what the black and white on what really goes into becoming a partner, but there's certain things that you can't do that are in there, you know, that don't allow you to sort of flourish, or only flourish within their community. And while I think that's great, and there might be times where I might only do a Twitch thing, if I want to do some of these other things, in theory, I would be
violating your contract, basically.
Violating my partnership. And so, you know, until those things get worked out, I felt like it's probably best to just not dive in 100%. But, you know,
you think it's the exclusivity stuff that you can't stream anywhere else?
I don't, you know, if I all of a sudden, you know, want to do something with somebody else or go somewhere else, I mean, come on, man, we're all struggling, right? So to be beholden to one thing, I just know that from working with record labels. Like, would I sign a major label contract in 2020?
No.
Fuck no. Like, you know, unless the constructs of that deal allowed me the ability to do the things that I would want to do regardless. And if you want to play ball with me in that regard, then yeah. So I just decided it wasn't really in my best interest to lock in 100%. Is it off the table? No. But is it something that, you know, I saw all these people just jumping in like, oh, I gotta be a partner,
right?
Because my profit share is better, or whatever. Like, they just look at the short side of things, and while that might work for them, for me, I'd rather walk through this process than race and run.
Smart. Just
to sort of cover some ground, to make a little bit more here or there, or, you know, and I still think there's
to your success, by the way.
Well, I think there's an opportunity to do it, and I'm not, again, it's not off the table, and I'm just in no hurry to do it under the current circumstances. And in my talkings with them, I've seen a couple things change for better or for worse over the course of, you know, 6-8 months that I've been sort of in talks about it. So I'm just holding out. You know, for me, that's just for me. But I also am looking at the bigger climate of, it allows me the position to step back and not feel like, oh, I'm in lockstep with this thing and they're doing something that I don't like. And let me even just step back from Twitch in general and just talk about in general.
Mm-hmm. Let's
take Instagram as an example. If Instagram right now were all of a sudden to say, you know what, guys, we're done. We don't want to do Instagram anymore. We're done. And we're not selling it to anybody. We're just done. All the work that we put in cultivating our Instagram followers and all the inroads we have to people we only speak to and we only connect with. I don't have some of these people's phone numbers or emails or anything. The only way I connect to them is through direct message through Instagram. And I wake up every morning thinking it's just going to be there. Right. What if one day it wasn't? All of a sudden, all that work you put into that thing would be gone. And so for me, the concept of trying to figure out other means in my small bubble of how to communicate to my audience or connect with people is a bit more paramount than building up and putting all this energy into one platform that may or may not go away. And I have no stake in it, even though I'm, you know, a partner or I'm an affiliate or I'm a, you know, in all reality, the partnership would have to be like 50-50. Like, if we're going to do it, and this is where it's got to be. And to me, it's a little off right now.
I can tell you this.
And to finish, there's no guarantee that wouldn't evaporate, and all of the work I did would have been for nothing. So I'm a little sort of hesitant to just all my eggs in one basket. And I kind of feel like everybody should just always keep one foot in and keep one foot out, and don't, you know, just play the field, because that's kind of what they're doing too. So match the intensity.
I can tell you from the very small amount of research I've done compared to other people, I do know that there are custom agreements when it comes to the partnership. There's different levels of partnership, different agreements that can be reached. And you, of all people, are obviously in a position where you have the ability to negotiate a better partnership deal than local DJ trying to get the numbers up. Obviously, you're taking a super smart approach at this for your brand and for where you want to go. So it's very hats off to you for being able to recognize that immediately and not just like, it's partners, spring break. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome.
I think, but it also, not to undercut, I would really like to be partner. I would really like to do this. I'd like to dive in and continue fanning the flames. But I also am just realizing, like, again, with all these other things that, like, the copyright shit is kind of also out of their hands to a degree, but in theory, they could also potentially step up and make that work. I mean, look at Mixcloud has figured out a way to make it work. So
they really haven't, though. I could talk about that.
Well, then that's news to me because I'm still trying to learn, and navigate around this. I think like we all are, you know what I mean? So, I'm curious. What do you know? This is spill the tea. This is new to me. I don't know.
Mixcloud has a broadcaster's license, but they don't have licensing for the master recordings. They don't have licensing to sync the VODs to video or sync the music to video. Sync licensing. So they only have one of 3 major licenses in order to provide the service that they're offering. And they're getting away with it because they're so small. But right now, their license allows them, their blanket license, which honestly kind of screws the music industry, their blanket license allows them to broadcast the audio, and then the accompanying video is there for the live portion only. If you go back to the archive of the Mixcloud, it's audio only. And I don't know if you've ever had a Mixcloud user experience. There's a thing in the United States where you can't rewind or you can't go back. Once it starts playing, it starts playing.
I do know that. Yeah, I do know that.
That's part of their license agreement. They do that because they only have the ability to technically broadcast this stuff from their site, not have the ability to provide the content on demand. That would require a lot more licensing. And the thing with Twitch that makes it different from Mixcloud is, even though it doesn't seem like it's a lot of money, Twitch's main revenue stream from us is not subs and bits like us. Twitch's main revenue stream is advertisement, right?
Ads, right.
Right. And so when you talk about not being able to have something on demand afterwards, which is the ultimate result of this, then you're cutting into their money. They want to have VODs. They want to have a video on demand. They want to have all that stuff available so they can run their ads on all of that content and make that revenue. So right now, their reaction is clearly temporary, which is everybody delete your VODs, delete your clips if you're playing music that is recorded or not yours. Let's just put it out there. If you're playing music that you're not the owner of, then they're saying that, first of all, you shouldn't be streaming it. Shame on you. Second of all, if you've ever done it, then you need to delete any record of it on Twitch immediately, which is what this latest email is saying. And
right.
And that's and then there's a whole bunch of other subtext of them trying to pitch their soundtrack service, which is horrible.
Well, naturally, but something like that's all that stuff's gonna be a part of like the here's our workaround. But I also feel like there's a little level of like, we're sort of obligated to put this email out. You know what I mean?
Right,
if you sort of read between the lines, like what are the specifics? If you've been dealing with this your whole career anyway, you're really just picking up on the key lines. The blanket is more for the person who's like, the Twitch celebrity, whatever, who does something, who like happens to have, whatever Prince playing in the background while they're playing, their video game or some shit. So it's
which
like,
is the majority of the users on Twitch too.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Okay.
So we're very specific. Here's the interesting thing though to me is, Twitch is Amazon, which is, got all the money anyway. So like, why wouldn't you just figure out some sort of blanket fee like a radio station or something? Because this is kind of the new broadcasting, you know what I mean?
New media.
In a weird way.
Yep.
So, to me, that's kind of what I'm holding out for. I'm holding out for them to come to an agreement where it's like, okay, this is what it is. Let's just pay the man. Let's get into the club. Okay, cool. We're past that. And then we're there. And to me, once that happens, then I feel like it's field day. It's open everywhere. But until that happens, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of like, dragging their feet. It's kind of like how streaming happened, or even, let's go back to the Napster days. It's like the same kind of hurdle of like, this is the new thing. we're going to fight it. We're going to put, all the lawyers are going to they're going to rinse out as much as they can until it gets to a point where like this is the new norm.
Right.
And then we move forward from that. But I still think, it took COVID to sort of spark this again, for better or for worse. You know what I mean? But here we are. So
it absolutely reminds me of Napster. And when I was talking about this in a previous episode, and it was totally like this. It was people enjoying technology's evolvement into our culture, and there not being a legal solution for old ways of making money. And the answer to that, the answer to Napster, was to make something that is guaranteed high quality and easier than stealing. And the answer was iTunes Music Store and ultimately streaming services. But right. I feel like a similar approach, instead of trying to push the morality clause, because when Napster was going on, that first knee-jerk reaction was, don't steal music, stealing music is wrong. And everyone was like, yeah, we agree, stealing music is wrong, but we want to consume music this way, and there's no legal way for us to fucking do it, so we're going to steal music, right? And so the same thing is sort of happening with the streaming thing. DJs aren't going to stop doing this, right? Like just like people didn't stop downloading music from Napster. Even if you say this is wrong, we're not going to stop doing this, right? So we got to come up with a solution that is easier than stealing and is guaranteed high quality service for the DJ. And I feel like that's going to be a resolution. Go ahead.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. For real.
I got that account on standby, ready to go.
I was gonna, if I could jump in real quick, I was gonna say it kind of feels like they're on the verge of something.
Yeah.
Like if they're trying to clear it clean, which is what they're doing, that means like whoever they're negotiating with doesn't want to have to go back through all the old stuff, and Twitch doesn't want to have to go through the old stuff. They just want to say, here's the starting point. This is going to be the deal now going forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're real close to something.
Well, it's crazy how much of that verbiage is like what we've seen with the tweets and everything over the months. I mean, we've been discussing that. And then when I got the email, it was almost like, well, it's been the 916 show on our discussions for the last couple of months, almost the exact same sentence structure, everything. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. And again, DJ was never mentioned in the whole email. So
exactly.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing is like, we're there, but we're also sort of tucked in. And I also want to say this, and something to think about, because ultimately, if a new, faster, better mousetrap comes out, everyone's going to go there. Absolutely. And so that's also what they're racing against. It's like they have everybody right now, but like, how soon till this is MySpace? You know what I mean? And
technology just keeps on fucking moving, y'all. It never goes backwards, and it just keeps on fucking going.
Just something to think about. It's like, like this is going to happen with or without people's sanctioning it, kind of like, downloading, like when, LimeWire and fucking all that shit. It's like, people were just, it was, here, I'm going to put my thumb in the dam. Well, it's fucking going everywhere else, but I got this one. It's like, what? It's not going to stop, dude. It's happening. Like, just embrace it and figure out how to roll with it. And I feel like we're just at like we all had to learn how to stream. They're all learning how to deal with that on their end. It's the same concept. They're just slower because we're a bit more agile than they are,
Right.
Those that know me know. Go ahead.
I really think the answer is, and I think everybody in the chat room and every DJ on this Zoom call right now would agree with this. Charge us $9.99 a month, $14.99 a month.
Oh yeah.
So the labels, they get paid, and we can stream.
Charge me $100 a month.
Like it's whatever.
For real.
Yeah.
If you're a streamer and you want to stream using copyrighted music, you have to pay a fee. And I think we would all agree that a nominal fee, whatever it is, would be fair.
Right now, the way that the DMCA laws are written and safe harbor laws are written for sites like Twitch and YouTube and things like that, and Facebook and Instagram, is the burden of cost of licensing is on the provider. And so what you're talking about is moving that cost onto the end user, which honestly is money printed for the music industry in a time when the music industry is trying to figure out how to print money. There are, and this is like I said, okay, we talk about stats real quick. Where does music land on Twitch? Those that know me know that I have the fucking numbers, okay? Right now, music is ranked 17th on the list for the popular games or channels,
huh?
right?
Nice.
And
nice.
so just to put it into perspective, okay? The number one category on Twitch right now is just chatting with watch time in the last 7 days of 63 million watch hours.
I love
number
you,
two,
Harris.
Number 2, League of Legends. Number 2, League of Legends. Just to show you
death.
how far just chatting is. Number 2, League of Legends is 50% of that. 31 million, right? Is the League of Legends for number 2. Okay. So those are your top 2. All right. Now let's go down.
Where is fucking Space Invaders in that? That's what I want to know.
Right. Let's take a look.
Where's Space Invaders?
Hell yeah.
Where's Big Doug?
One guy.
Big Doug.
Minecraft has 146,000.
Yeah, music
now.
right
Yeah,
now. So,
Tempo on that
Minecraft is in 4th place with 19 million. Among Us 22 million in 3rd. League of Legends 31. Just Chatting 63. Music 4,400,000.
Wow. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is so low. They could give a fuck.
They
Like,
could
That's
give a
right.
fuck. They could burn us all down. They
That's
could cut. They could cut this entire category as a loss and wouldn't even fucking sweat us. And so y'all got to realize like the revenue that's not being generated from DJs for Twitch. Like they don't give a shit about.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Billy, can I ask a question as E-Trip? If you don't mind, you were talking about one day you'll like log into Instagram and they're not there no more, and all that kind of work building that audience and that just goes for nothing. So to your point about keeping one foot in and one foot out is important. I was thinking the first thing I was thinking about when you were talking about that was like, and to your point about Twitch, this will be tomorrow's MySpace, and there'll be something new. And again, all the work we do in building the audience, what's it for? I just immediately thought about email. Now, you've been in the game for a minute. You've got a big audience, a big following. I mean, email's the one thing you can own. Everyone's got. It ain't going to turn off anytime soon. Have you worked on...
And it's 100% reach. And it's 100% reach.
100% reach, exactly, and or text message. And I was just wondering, do you talk to your people by email, or is it going to be via the social media platforms only?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because I used to do it religiously. And then I took a break for a good 6 or 7 years because social media had become ramped up. Right. And that's where most people were at. So I ended up not sending out news blasts and stuff on email. But I started to pick that back up again recently, and it works, you know what I mean? But here's the fucked up thing is, what I'm realizing is, even on email, if somebody signs up to your newsletter, just because they signed up, just because they're getting your newsletter, doesn't necessarily mean they're engaging. It's like, I mean, like the amount of emails that come in, I might look and be like, oh, I got an email from, there's other email lists that a couple people who I follow, who they'll send something, and I might, be into their stuff, but I'm not into it religiously to the point where I tune in for every single email. I might once a quarter go, I wonder what that dude's up to. And then I'll go into my email and I'll be like, 5 emails. Okay, cool. I'm up to speed. And that's kind of how I check in. So email to me, while it's a great vehicle, and you bring it up, it's something that I think everybody should have. It's a tool in the tool belt you should definitely cultivate.
Yep.
But I'm also realizing, like, I have on my Bandcamp, I have 17,000 people who follow me on Bandcamp. I have a mailing list of 30,000 people that I hit up on my mailing list. I have my 70,000 people or whatever, 74,000 people that I have on Instagram or Twitter, and I realize. And Facebook, all these different platforms that I have to reach people. I've done tests just in my own where I've shot something out in one, just on Bandcamp, just to see. Let me see what comes back. And I'll shoot something out on just Instagram, see what comes back. I'll shoot something out on just Twitter. And I realize that people are very creatures of habit, and they are plugged into whatever their thing is. If Instagram is their thing, Instagram stories is their thing. They don't fuck with Twitch. They don't fuck with Facebook. They don't fuck. Right. That's just Instagram. If you don't speak to them on that platform, you're dead to them.
Right.
And so email, as much as it's a sure shot, you'd think, is really just another one of, when you put out a campaign, you got to put it out on all of them, all sort of around the same time. But the other thing that's fucked up about that is I've also had it backfire where I sent an email, then Bandcamp sent an email, then I posted it on Twitch, posted it on Twitter, posted it on fucking Instagram, posted it on Facebook, and fans of mine are like, Dick, I get it. You put out a fucking T-shirt. Fuck off.
Unsubscribe.
I got notified 8 times.
Enough already. Yeah.
The flip side of that is the one person that I needed to hit in my blanket sort of, machine gun. I got the one person on the one platform, because I had to hit them if I wanted to get numbers that were in lockstep with what I needed for that debut or that promo or whatever. So it's fucked up, but I think ultimately the thing that I'm also realizing too is that, I was a little scared of I don't want to also be the guy who's like, excuse me, I have another thing, I have a stream coming up. I don't want to be that guy either. Cause there's nothing worse than being just shut the fuck up, dude. You're always telling me about your fucking stream. Right. I get that too, because I follow people and I get inundated with that. But I do feel like no matter what, ultimately, the numbers that we have, the people who follow us, and I was telling this to Billy earlier, the numbers, we get caught up in, I got 72,000 people following me. So if I hit this, 72,000 people are going to fucking see this. And it's no, maybe 600 people will see it. Yeah. Maybe 1,000 people will see it because of the algorithms and all the other shit and all the other noise.
Right.
It's this perceived number of what you can hit, what you might hit, what you will hit. And then if it's engaging enough, will the algorithms let it bump up so it actually gets to a higher threshold so it actually starts to get traction? Right. All this shit is pitted against us. So while having, I think, you bring up email, which I think is, by the way, is probably the safest bet because it's a little bit more of direct to user than all the others.
Right.
But I think it's crucial to not just rely on one, but to have them all and to be strategic about, how you do it. And I think the concept now is also to not be so naive to think if you put out one message on all of them that they're all going to fly, but more maybe that for that week, it's today is Twitter Tuesdays, tomorrow is Wednesday Instagrams, Thursday is, fucking this, and make and cultivate them to be different. Hey guys, it's me. I'm back for the 4th time. You may be seeing this for the 4th time. I'm an asshole, but buy my shit. That is a bit more of a real message that I'll be okay, I get it. You're hustling and I'll forgive you versus come check out my show. There's, you have to, and I'm realizing more and more too, that the branded, flyer with all the shit, I put out flyers that have been made and everyone's weighed in on the algorithm and how it will work and they've done nothing. And I've done one where I was I'm just gonna write out, hey, come check me out tomorrow, I'm doing this thing, it'll be really cool, in parentheses, big flashy sign, big logo, bottle service girl picture, all it's in a text message, just imagine it's this, and sent that out as a joke. And that got more traction than the best flyer I've ever made. It was because people get it. It's I'd rather see you be witty and do something creative where I'll be you're such a dick, I'll be there.
Well, this is it. I feel like a lot of emails and a lot of information that's being kind of sent out there is just informational. It's less of a personal. I mean,
right.
So it's I'm not going to read an email if they're just facts.
Historical, right?
He's playing this time, this location, just facts. That's not interesting to me.
Right.
What's interesting is the story, a bit of humor, a bit of background. And interestingly, what we get on Twitch, the fact to your point about the 2020 hit the way it did. So you're on Twitch now, you found a way to connect with your people in a way you never thought possible. It's opened the doors and it's been a blessing. And that's fantastic. But interestingly, by way of the way we communicate on Facebook and email and that, it feels like there might be an opportunity here where it's less just informational, it's more actual conversational. So it feels like a natural thing that text message just seems like a much more real thing to connect with than a really slick flyer. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's also putting in the work. To be to that point, I use the example of when I again, I hadn't streamed anything, but the first time I did the Insomniac thing when COVID hit, took 3-4 weeks off and just unplugged, wasn't on anything, and did that set. and gave everybody my handle, was like, yeah, catch me on Instagram or whatever, and came back and I was up till 8 in the morning. That was me hitting everybody back personally, being like, yo, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Here's my first stream. It's going to be at this date. And I was up till 8 in the morning, but I felt like what I was doing was the 2005 version of flyering the parking lot.
Yeah, straight up.
I was like, yo, come to my gig, come to my gig, come to my gig, come to my gig. And that's really what it was. It was like, I'm going to inform you, I'm going to do it personally. And it's a lot of work, but there's something to be said about also 80% of those people came back, and 80 of those percent of those people are people who I've now engaged with over time. And by the way, it takes a lot of time. Like I'll wake up in the morning and a good hour and a half is spent just hitting up people like, yo, but for everybody who's like, yo, good gig, thanks. And that's all you need to hear. I've also gotten people who have hit me up and been like, some extreme shit. Like a dude was like, yo, he was a vet. Speaking of vets, happy Veterans Day, and shout out to all the vets out there. But there was a cat who was a vet who said, I've been suffering with PTSD. I came back, my head's all fucked up, and your set that you did really helped me out. And we started talking, and over the course of a couple weeks, he was like, yo, I gotta let you know, the other day I had a gun in my mouth, and your set brought me off of that. Your chill set brought me off of that. And that moment is like the real connection, where just to know that I could connect with this person and help them out, the blanketing of the flyer, while that should work and hopefully works, if you're cultivating these relationships on direct messages, even though it takes a lot of time, but it's real. It's not just you like hustle, go come to my show, but more like come to my show. Hey, oh shit, I saw your thing, and you're commenting, you're actually having these interactions. That's what people want. And that's what it's really about too, is I'd rather have 1,000 real connections with people than 10,000 perceived, 1,000 that are real, and me thinking that it's more closer to like 7,000 and wondering why is it not it, when it's like, no, I can bank on this 1,000. And so the whole concept of like, just cultivating real and banking on that, I'd rather know that number than any other number. And that's what matters to me. And I think a little bit backwards for most people. I almost feel like I'd rather keep it small and tight than to try and blow it up and not be able to hit everybody the way I want to. So I don't know, take that for what it's worth. It's just something that I realized though, and it took me doing the Insomniac thing and getting this influx of people hitting me up and, trying to hit everybody back. And just all people really want to be is like, oh, cool, I'm not just a number, I'm a person. And you want to feel that. Like anyone who comes to my shows, it's the same thing. Like, I played stadiums of, thousands, 50,000, 70,000 people, 100,000 people. But the club with 300 people that I can, that I'll shake hands and take pictures with at the end of the night, that's what matters to me a little bit more, because that's all real. I know those 300 people will come back. I don't know if 100,000 people are going to come back and see me. You know what I mean? Let's just play the numbers game. So keep it small and keep it real and intimate. That to me is what I'm realizing matters more than anything. So I've gotten less concerned about like, did I hit my number versus did I hit the core? Does the core get it? Are they stoked? That's all that matters. And then to take it a step further with that core of people, I'm very open about, please share this and give it to people. And I'll say one other thing that I've done, and this may help or not, I don't know, but with my mixes that I've been doing, especially with stuff on Twitch or wherever, it's like, I'll do my mixes and I'll give them away for free for the people who can't follow, who don't get a good signal, who have no money, but really need uplifting right now. To me, it's more important that they hear the music and it does something for them that keeps them engaged and connected. It's more important for me to keep that connection than it is to get money out of them or feel a patron thing. So I put it out there for free. And the thing that, I noticed this when Radiohead did it way back in the day when they're like, pay whatever you want. I've seen people pay double, triple, quadruple what I would have charged for it on the strength of like, here's a donation for that. And it's actually interesting for the amount of downloads that I've gotten on certain projects have been relatively about the same had I put a price tag of what I would have charged for it.
Isn't that crazy how that works? I totally know what you're talking about.
Nuts. And it's nuts. And I used to be a little sort of apprehensive about it, especially now when like $1,000, $500, you know, $2,000 is like the value of $2,000 right now. If you all had $2,000, you'd be like, yo, I know exactly where this is going. It matters.
That shit is already spent. Yeah.
but like the value of that versus back in the day, like, so to me, I'd rather be able to know that I can bank on people supporting me, and I'm grateful for that. So incredibly grateful for that. But I'm also grateful for the fact that I can give to people who can't afford it, who need it just as bad. And ultimately, if you just let the universe provide a little bit, it ends up coming back. I've had to reprogram a lot of the way I've thought about shit, man. And it's been a little counterintuitive, but the end result has been better because I've been able to cultivate and actually get deeper with my fans and been able to sustain, you know, I'm not making crazy money like I was on the road, but I'm also maintaining. And that to me is a win. So
real quick, sorry to cut everybody off real quick. Z, we are officially in the after hours, and I want to be very respectful of your time, and we're cutting into dinner time. So if at any moment, like, it's time for you to cut, just let me know. And
the only thing I really need to do is I probably have to go piss in a second and maybe grab another beer.
Okay.
But other than that, like, to be honest, I'm super engaged, and I know I've been doing a lot of talking, but I'd love to hear a little bit of what you guys are seeing too, because like your perspective is super crucial to me to understand things outside of my bubble, because I am very much, I've hunkered down into my world, but I'm very curious to see, you know, two things. A, from the people who actually are paying attention to my world, how you see it and what you see, good and bad. What could I do better? What have I done horribly? And second question is, how has it been working for you, and what works for you, what doesn't work for you? I know that's a lot, and maybe we can take a time with that, but like, I'm super curious. So I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm just another dude in the record store.
Love it.
That has to piss.
Love it. The bathroom's in the back. Make sure you flush twice. You got to jiggle the handle. You got to jiggle the handle.
Yeah, you know,
I was about to say, jiggle the handle.
If it's yellow, let it yellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
Yeah, but anybody who's down to answer to that, I'm always curious, because I'm always trying to figure out how to reinvent or push or evolve this as well, because it's all kind of new territory.